Hey everybody, Poker Dad here. So I am ready to do another session of studying here, and just like yesterday, I am going to be focusing on poker math. I'm going to be focused on that for the next couple of days until I really have a good grasp of it, and that I can start doing it at the table as second nature and start thinking in terms of poker math. So until I get this down pat, I won't be moving on to the next topic. So even if it takes me a few days, that's fine. That's how I want to handle my studying is get really really good at one topic and then move on to the next. Whew, sorry, excuse me. I was just up and down the stairs. Anyway, I just need to take a drink here. So I'm gonna choose three hands at random, and I'm gonna go through each hand and think in terms of poker math while I'm looking through the hand. So, and these are all hands either played on ignition or on America's Card Room at NL5. So let's just choose this one first. Actually, we won't choose this one because I have to hide cards. Let's choose this one. Okay. I don't know what the action is. I didn't look at any of the actions before I clicked on this. I don't know what happens. The only thing I can tell you is that the filter is set for me seeing the flop and at least and just facing one person. So right now I'm just worrying about dealing with the math versus one particular person. So I got Flopzilla ready to go as well. Let's do this. Let me just fix this up here. Okay. So let's see how we start off this hand here. So I am the open raiser, and I am playing out of the cutoff, and the button calls me. The button is a 27 VPIP, and before I start, I just want to point out a couple things that I kind of screwed up on yesterday. These are my notes from yesterday, by the way. I messed up before I even started. I messed up on a couple of things here. So the 4-2 rule. What the 4-2 rule is, and I just want to make another note here, is a quick way to calculate equity on the fly. So I kind of missed the whole point of the 4-2 rule. It's to help. It's a quick way to calculate equity on the fly, which is what's helping me determine whether or not I should be calling or folding when it comes to pot odds. So I think I kind of misunderstood what the 4-2 rule was. I kept on referring to the 4-2 rule and implied odds in the same way. And to be honest with you, I still don't have that great of an understanding on implied odds, and it really wasn't made clear yet. So I think implied odds is something to be worried about more towards the future. But I do know that implied odds mean that I still have pretty good odds to call. I just don't know how the math. I still don't know the math behind implied odds, but I will get to know that. But yeah, I was just confusing the 4-2 rule with with implied odds. So implied odds more is like, okay, my hand still can improve to be the best hand. So even if I don't have the odds in terms of equity, I can still make a call. So but I'm not sure the math behind implied odds. I really need to do a little more research on that. But right now, I'm not too focused on it because in the lesson, they didn't go deep into it, and they just said that they would go into it later. So I'm not going to worry too much about implied odds. And also break even percentage. You know, I was off on as well. Break even percentage is really just more important when we're talking about bluffing. So that's when I would focus more on worrying about break even percentage. So just a couple of things that I was wrong about yesterday. And I went, and I asked all these questions, and it helped me figure out what I wasn't understanding so well. So, and also expected value (EV). So the math behind EV is the percentage of time we would win, which is our equity, minus the percentage of time we would lose, which is the opposite. So I'm still a little confused about EV2 and how to actually calculate it. But obviously, the more equity we have, the better EV we have in a particular play. So the more plus EV something is, with the more equity that we have, is the way I understand it. But I'm gonna have to maybe just do a little bit more research on EV as well. So I think maybe tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll maybe watch some other YouTube videos just to get a more better idea on the math behind EV. So let's take a look here at some hands. Like I said, I raised from the cutoff, and the button called my raise. And oh, one thing I wanted to do is I do want to show my cards. So I have Queen Jack offsuit, because this isn't a range. I'm not doing range analysis, at least not for myself. So that's why I'm okay showing my cards for this particular exercise. So I had Queen Jack offsuit, and I was in the cutoff, and the button called me. Sorry, I'm like thinking about a couple of things at the same time while I'm talking. So the button, like I was saying, is a 27 VPIP, and his 3-bet percentage 5 out of 42. So his 3-bet percentage is 11 is 12. So sorry, I was just thinking, do I know what this? Do I know this hand? I was trying not to hopefully know, but it doesn't matter. So let's just get this put in here. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place in this video, but I'm just thinking. I was just thinking about something. All right, Queen of Hearts, excuse me, and Jack of Clubs. Oh, sorry. Queen of Hearts and Jack of Clubs, and his range is 20 set. I got 94 hands on him. So in the big blind, I could actually look in the big blind. The big blind, his VPIP is 44, and his 3-bet is 14. So we'll use that, 44 and 14. Not in the big blind. Holy cow! Wake up! Oh my god! My brain is. I don't know what's wrong with my brain. In the button. So in the button, he's a 24, and he hasn't 3-bet at all in 12 opportunities. So I'll give when I say something like that. Obviously, it's a small sample size. 17. It's a very small sample size, obviously. So I'll just give him 24 and 5, just for standard, for a 3-bet. So 24 and 5. One thing I might want to add to the HUD eventually is stats versus positions. But I mean, I'm not playing on ACR enough though, which is the thing, because sometimes I don't want to play on air because it's just such long waiting lists to get every single table. Then I'd rather play on Ignition. So this is what the range is going to look like right now for the player in the button position, and we have 9 of clubs, Ace of spades, and 5 of hearts. So my equity going into this hand is not very good at all. It's only 28% versus his range, which makes sense. I mean, I don't really have much going on here. I just have a backdoor straight draw, which would require a 10 and a king. So it's just not really a great hand here. So hopefully I don't bet. So of course I do check it off here, which is definitely the right play, being out of position with this type of a hand. And my opponent bets 25% into me. Now I do have 28% equity, so a half pot bet I actually could call here. Let's think about it. Well, I don't really have bet one check to on yet. And full flop, I don't think is the right. I don't know. I couldn't figure out how to get bet one check to on. I can get it on drive HUD. I can't really figure it out on here. a bet when check two percentage, which would tell you that they have a lot of air in their range when they're check two. But let's just assume here that he isn't bluffing us, because I don't want to assume that he's bluffing us. Granted, we could maybe call it here with 28% equity. Let's look at the 4-2 rule real quick. If we were just going to calculate the equity, what are our outs here? I mean, to improve, if he has a pair of aces, we never improve. I mean, we're going to fold most likely to any kind of bet. So it almost makes like our equity just non-existent. I don't think there's any way we could ever call this bet. We have no equity. And once I eliminate some hands here, okay, so let's just eliminate some hands from this guy's range. He could bet with sets. He could bet with two pair. He could bet with top pair. He could bet with pocket pair below top pair. We don't have that. He could bet with middle pair. Heck, he could bet with weak pair. He could bet with an open-end straight draw if he wanted to. We could bet with a gut shot. He could bet with any of this stuff here. It would give us 19% equity. So there's no way we can call this, and I hope I just fold this. Any other things we want to look at here? No, I mean, I think this is such a pretty simple hand. We don't have, just starting straight from the top, we just don't have pot odds. And I could look at aggression factor also, by the way. His aggression factor is pretty low. It's 23. He's most aggressive on the turn. He's pretty, for the most part, he's pretty standard player. So I think we just have to believe him, and we can't call it here. So let's see. Oh. Okay, so I raised it here. Why? Well, I will tell you for no good reason. So I'd be raising it to get him to fold. Well, my equity is 19% versus his betting range. And I don't even know if I have any fold equity against him. His c-bet, well, he doesn't c-bet. This isn't a c-bet. But his fold to flop c-bet is 50. So, I could look at that potentially here and say that would not be a reason to 3-bet. I don't think we're going to get him, to raise the flop. I don't think we would get him to fold. So, this is really bad. I don't even have anything else to even go on here. I can think of some other stats I'm going to probably start adding to my HUD. Things like, fold, folding to raises and things like that. But those kind of stats, just take so much data to build up. So I don't think I have any fold equity here, because let's say I add hand equity plus fold equity. Let's just say I can use 50% as his fold equity, which is only in six opportunities. 20 plus 50 is 70. It's not even over 80. So yeah, I don't think the raise is really a good play here. Mathematically, I don't think I have fold equity here. So let's see what happened. Yeah, and he called it. So yeah, definitely just a bad raise. I think if like his fold to flop c-bet was like 70, 75, and I raised it, I think that would make a lot more sense. But his fold to flop c-bet is 50, even though it's only 6 opportunities. I don't think it makes much sense to raise it here. Now, I know what I was thinking, because I was not thinking properly. I was thinking, oh, this is a raise because I have a gut shot, a backdoor straight draw. But yeah, no. Now when I'm thinking mathematically, it's a terrible play. So out in the turn comes a 6. Again, I'm bluffing. So another thing I should be looking at here is break-even percentage. Okay. Again, break-even percentage. Okay, so if I have, I made, let me just go back to the flop for a second. This is, yeah, no, this doesn't make any sense, because now here I am making a half pot bet. Okay, so my break even percentage for this bet to work is 33% for this bet to work. So it needs to work 33% of the time. But what am I representing here? Like, what am I representing, and how am I going to get him to fold? Um, his aggression stats are pretty balanced here. He gets a little more aggressive on the turn. So if he gets more aggressive on the turn, another reason why I just don't have fold equity here. So why am I raising? I'm not raising for value. I can't even make a hand at this point. So, yeah, this is pretty bad raise. I don't have any mathematical way to back this raise up, but I can tell you I don't have fold equity because my hand equity is bad. Let's add a 6 of hearts in here versus the range that we put him on after he bet. So my hand equity is now 6%. So what the hell am I doing? There's no fold equity here when we see his turn aggression is higher than his flop aggression, and he just bet on the flop. So, if his turn aggression was like 2, then yeah, maybe we can get him to fold. But I don't think so. In this case here, we have nothing to go on. We have nothing to go on to make this kind of play. And he calls us, as expected. And we get a queen, which is probably the worst card for me, because now I'm going to think that I actually have a chance in his hand. By the way, what's he calling with here? Straight. Although you would think he would raise a straight, but you can call it just to raise the river, possibly expecting me to bet. I've already bet twice. A set, 2 pair, and top pair. Flush draw? No. I don't think he's calling draws. So this is what he has. I have 0% equity, folks. 0. Let's throw the queen in there. Queen of diamonds. I still have no equity versus range. So what should I do here? Give up, but I should have gave up on the flop. So it's just a bad hand. I check finally, thank God. And he checks behind. And he had ace 2. So he had top pair the whole time. Fine. I think, so let's think here. Okay, so my expected value, let's just think back to the flop. My expected value was so negative EV to bet. I had, when this whole hand started, let's get queen, rid of the queen and the 6. When this whole hand started, I had 28% equity. So the EV, not good to make a bet. Negative EV to make a bet. Because if we look at the formula for EV is percentage won times the money won minus percentage loss times the money lost. Well, if I can only win 28% of the time, well, do I have fold equity? I did not have fold equity here. I did not have fold equity here on this raise when I raised it there. There was no fold equity. He had already bet, and his fold to flop C bet, even though only 6 opportunities, is only 50%. We don't have it like it's at 70, 80%. We just don't know. We don't even know if we have fold equity there. So raising didn't make any sense, especially on a board like as dry as this one, like an ace 9-5 board. Frequencies really didn't matter here. The 4-2 rule, that when the opportunity was to come to call, the 4-2 rule was a clear fold because we didn't have any outs. So did I proper pot odds to make the call? No. Even implied odds. There were no implied odds here. There was no way for me to improve my hand. How many combos could have beaten us? all of them. I mean, tons of them. And if I'm going to bet, what would my break-even percentage? And again, you know, in a spot like this without fold equity, break-even percentage doesn't matter. So there you go. That was that hand. Good way to think about it. Let's go find another one. Do the randomizer. Random. Not looking at anything. Replay hand. You probably saw it better than I did. Okay, here we are playing on zone. So zone, we have very general stats on players. We have player pool stats. Let's take a look. So we get an under the gun plus 2 raise. So that's the cutoff. We'll call them the cutoff. And I call with queen 9. So let's come up with an opening range raise for the cutoff. Well, the stats I have for cutoff, by the way, on zone. So now we have 3,400 hands, which is just again just general how players play is average. 27 VPIP, and more importantly, in the spot here, 16 PFR, which should be the same as the RFI. The RFI is actually higher, so the raise first in is actually higher. So that's actually kind of important. So the raise first in is actually 22%, the player pool. And by the way, that was through 2,070 opportunities. 2,070 opportunities. So 22% would look like this. It's not even that wide when you think about it. Like, a cutoff range would usually be bigger than this. Like, the cutoff ranges that I was opening up with is bigger than this. I'm going to give them all suited aces, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, there would sometimes be more suited cards here for the cutoff. I mean, a general cutoff range at least going to have 8-7 and 7-6. I'm going to give them those. It's close enough, 23%. I think this is fair. What do I have? I have Queen of Spades, 9 of Diamonds. Again, putting it in the wrong spot. Queen of Spades, 9 of Diamonds. So off the bat, my equity versus range is 37%. Not very good. Versus range just in general. Let's see what the flop brings. Flop brings a very dry board of Jack 6-2. Can't imagine this will be very good for our range. Jack of Spades, 6 of Hearts, and 2 of Clubs. Yes, this gives us 20% equity. So I'm out of position. Should I bet? Well, betting will most certainly be a minus EV play, most likely. Let's see. These players are c-betting at a 61% pop, which is very reggish. You're not going to think that I have fold equity, first of all, again, out of position versus the player who c-bet. So when we're talking about EV, it would absolutely be a minus EV at 20% equity to make a bet here. Checking would be the best option. Now, I mean, that's it. That's it. And nothing else really matters here. Because I'm out of position, that's the only thing to me that matters here is EV. Would betting be an EV play? No, it wouldn't. I don't have the equity. So I don't believe it would be an EV play. I don't have fold equity. Am I going to bluff here? Again, I don't have fold equity. So no, I'm not going to bluff here. So break-even percentage, not important. Very simple. Check it. And we do. And he checks back. Okay. Not much to analyze there. Check, check. So let's go to the next street. And say 2 of Hearts. So nothing changes here. Well, actually, no. Some things do change. I just want to say some things do change. What hands would he bet with? He's going to bet with a set. He's going to bet with two pair. He doesn't even have it. There's no two pair in his range. Uh, he's going to bet with no overpair. And there's a good chance he's going to bet with top pair. At least most of them. Let's just say he's going to bet with ace jack. We'll leave the other ones off. Maybe he'll check with the others, but he'll definitely bet ace jack. Okay. Middle pair, he might check back. He might check back. He might bet. But I'm gonna keep the middle pairs in his range because he might check them back. I can't say definitely that he wouldn't bet them. So all this other stuff he could definitely check back. Just the only stuff he's not checking back is the set and two pair, but there's no two pair, and he's not checking back over pairs. So that puts my we took a lot out of his oh no, well we want this other stuff. Ace hand, ace high, no main hand, all the cards, all this other stuff. So the only things we don't want out of here is we're taking out ace jack over pairs and sets. So our equity actually goes up a little bit, tiny bit, 2%, when we remove somebody's hands from his was that? Oh, we gotta keep these in too. All right, so our equity is slightly up. Slightly up. Ace jack suited is still in there because of what? Oh, the backdoor flush draw. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So 22%. And the 2 comes out. Right, so 2 hearts is now out, and our equity now does drop to 14%. So again, out of position, I mean, there's nothing we can do here. Again, a bet would be a definite minus EV play. Let's see. On general aggression, I'm sure it's pretty balanced. It's very balanced aggression. You know, again, this is, you know, it becomes more hand reading than anything else. I mean, again, but just being out of position is not much I'm going to do here with a hand with such low equity. You know, what am I bluffing? You know, that I have 3 2s now. I mean, would I even call? Like, what hands am I calling? What hands am I calling pre-flop with a 2? Ace 2. Ace 2 is really it. That's the only 2, and pocket 2s. But I mean, I don't have quads. You know, it's so rare to have quads unless you're playing global poker. So there's no way for me to bet here out of position as a bluff. Plus, you know, we're playing anonymous tables. In reality, we have no idea if we have fold equity. We just have to assume we don't unless the math is on our side. And the math isn't on our side here because we have such low equity. And our equity is so low, and our opponents, if you want to just take a look, okay, their range, the equity of their range is 85%. The equity of their range is 85%. You want to talk about EV, okay, it's really low here. It's so negative. Do the math. Let's do the math, okay? My equity is 14.58%. I just figured this out right now off the top of my head. I just realized it because the formula is percentage won times money won minus percentage lost times money lost. All right, so let's just figure this out. Let's say, let's just do it. Let's figure it out. Why not, right? Why not? Let's say, I'm going to move this off screen for a second. Because I really need to figure this out. The percentage won here, where is Fobzilla? for me to make this bet. I'm just doing this just to show myself it would be a terrible bet. The percentage one is my equity, which is 14.58. 14.58% times the money I would win if he folded. So if he folded, okay, let's say I bet half pot. All right, so if I bet half pot, so we got 32 cents. I'm betting half pot to win 32 cents. That's what I would win. So 0.32. So $14.58%. I guess that's how you do it. 0.32 times 14.58% is 0.05. I'll round it up, 0.05. I don't know if this is going to work out correctly. And the amount I would lose, let's say he called and then it went check, check. So I could lose, let's say I did half pot bet, so half pot bet would be 16 cents. So let's do 85.412. I'll just 41. Times percent times I'd be risking 16 cents. Right? I'd be risking 16 cents. So 0.16 times 85.41% is 0.13. I'm curious to see if I'm doing this right. I think I am. Hope nobody's looking at these videos as teaching videos, because I'm just learning and I'm just trying to figure things out and I'm making a video for it. So I take 0.05. Yeah, this is going to work out. Okay. So then I got to take 0.05 minus 0.13. 0.05 minus 0.13, and that equals negative 0.08. So this is showing that this is a minus EV play of 8 cents. If I were to bet half pot. And it would be even worse if I wanted to bet more. Let's say I bet 32 cents. $85.41. And this is all hypothetical, because obviously this would be so stupid to bet here. And if I bet here, I'm going to hate myself forever. 32 cents, because I'm going to lose 32 cents if he calls and it goes check, check, and I've lost. Just as an example. 0.27. So betting pot here would make it a minus 22 cents EV. Even more EV. Even more negative EV. So, obviously, the situation would be very minus EV. And the same thing now goes for break-even percentage, because I just, I have... It would never work. It'd be terrible. It would just be so terrible. Because it's minus EV. And minus EV goes before anything. Is it a plus EV or minus EV play? It's a minus EV play. So, don't bet. Don't bluff here. There's no reason to bluff. Don't say, oh, because the second two came out, now I can bluff. Because some people may think that. Heck, I may think that right here. We don't even know how this hand goes yet. The second two does nothing. First of all, it doesn't hit my range at all. But it's just a very negative EV play because of my equity in the situation. So, I check, thank God, and he checks back. There's a lot of analysis, right? Just for ended up being check check. Yeah, but it's okay. That's what we want. We want to figure this stuff out. We want to be thinking about this stuff now so we can figure it out on the tables. And we get a Jack of Hearts to finish things off here. So Jack of Hearts is really even more gross. Let's just figure this out first. Okay, what is he checking again? What would he be betting? Well, there are no quads. There is no full house. There is no straight. Three of a kind, so he'd definitely be betting three of a kind. There is no overpair. There is no top pair. I mean, there is no two pair. All right, all the top pairs he's definitely betting at this point. Pocket pair below top pair. I think he's betting these at this point, so we can take those out. I think middle pair is even betting at this point. Now he's just trying to get the pot. That'd be plus EV for him. Weak pairs. I think all pairs at this point are betting. You know what? Not weak pairs. Let's say weak pairs will stay in. Ace high, no made hand. All this other stuff. That's everything. I didn't take anything out. We didn't lose anything here. Because the ace two. Oh, again with the flush draw. I want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of the ace two. Okay. So we get Jack of Hearts. My equity is now 6%. It got worse. A bet here would be so terrible. Would be awful at this point. The only thing I can do here is check and fold. I should never be bluffing this. I don't think I should ever be bluffing this. And what kind of bluff would I do for this to work? If I wanted to bluff it. Let's say, but just from a hand reading perspective, I'm never bluffing this. Because if I have a 6, let's see, let's say I have a 6 in my hand. Am I bet? I don't know. I'm not betting. So I could be checking. So if I had a 6 in my hand, now we got Jack Jack. So we got still 6s. I still shouldn't be betting. What can I bluff here? I can bluff a flush, I guess. I guess I could bluff here, but again, against an unknown out of position, it just seems like a terrible idea. It just seems like a terrible idea. So, we'd say look at break-even percentage. Risk divided by risk plus reward. Risk divided by risk plus reward. It's just not worth it. Let's just take a look at that calculation real quick. Risk divided by risk plus reward. So let's just say I'm going to bet pot. All right, let's get rid of this. We already know it's going to be minus EV play, first of all, so we shouldn't be doing it. But let's say we wanted to just be crazy for whatever reason. Risk divided by, let me get rid of this stuff, by the way. This was all from yesterday's stuff. Risk divided by risk plus reward. Well, I'd be risking. Again, we're just trying to get him to fold. So let's say I bet pot. Let's say I bet. Well, what's going to get him to fold here? It's going to have to be a pot-sized bet to get him to fold, which has to work 50% of the time. So half the time it has to work. That's a very high percentage. And I got to bet pot to do that. So I got to bet pot to do that, to represent a full house. That's just the way it is. Because I have to bet like it's a really strong hand. So the risk betting pot is 32 cents divided by the reward would be 32 cents plus 32 cents. So 32 cents divided by 64 equals, we know the answer to this, right? 0.5. So, I mean, it hardly seems worth it in a pot like this. This pot is not big enough. And for me to have to risk another 32 cents, it just doesn't seem like a logical play. So we should just check and check back, fold, whatever. And we do. And he checks. And he won with his king 7. So interesting stuff. I don't, maybe I don't really understand break-even percentage that much either, because that kind of thing just didn't make sense to me. So that's why I'm glad I'm doing this. I figured out EV. I think I've figured out now. Break-even percentage, I don't 100% understand. So break-even percentage, I need to work more on. I need to work more on. Break-even percentage. EV, I think I figured out. I think I got it. And we'll get it more and more with practice. All right, one more hand. All right. This is zone again. So we get a raise from the middle position, which we have as a, let's see what the RFI is. Their RFI is 18%. I think we're going to see a 3-bet here, though. We'll start off with 18%. And yeah, I do 3-bet. He calls. So one second. I got to go help my daughter with something. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Had to help my daughter with some electrical issues. So what the heck were we doing here? I don't remember. 3-bet. 3-bet, yes. So, how can we figure that out? Well, what's their normal 3-bet percentage? Their normal 3-bet percentage is 4%. So, I think we can just do that. Give them a really small percentage here. Give them 5% at least. Calling 3-bet from that position. So we'll make this their position. So Jack of Diamonds and Queen of Diamonds. So against this particular range, I know it's like super tight. I mean, it could be really anything when we're talking about. You know what? I think I'm giving it a little bit too tight. This guy is a recreational player. Let me just think about what recreational players would be doing, calling 3-bets here. And I'm in the small blind. You know, this guy's a recreational player because he doesn't have a full stack. So these guys, if they're opening, I'm gonna give them a fairly big range here. This is what these guys would call with. I think these guys would call with with these hands. And I think this is decent. They would call with these types of hands on a 3-bet. So even still, I have 39% equity against his range. And we get another really just awful board. But I'm actually kind of glad that we have these terrible boards here. King of Spades. Nine of Hearts. And we're choosing random hands, so. And two of diamonds. So our equity against him versus range is 32%. Now we were to pre-flop razor here because we 3-bet. So the problem here again is because, well, all right, so here's one thing, okay, is we do have a gut shot. So that's good. We don't have overpairs, but we have a gut shot. We also can get two diamonds to improve. So that's 9. That's 10. But let's say 9, okay? Because for it to happen, we need to get one on the turn, one on the river, so 9. So that's 9 outs plus 4 tens. So that's 13. Now, I'm actually 13 times 2 is 26%. I can say 13 times 8 is, 13 times 4 is 52%. I think we can make a bet here. Now, in terms of fold equity, it's kind of tough to know what our fold equity is. He is a short stack. But I think we can make a bet here. Why? Let's take a look at EV first. Would it be EV? Well, let's look at the math again for this. My percentage to win, if I can get him to fold here, is 32%. And that would win me a pot of 95 cents. Okay. So multiply that. So 0.95 times 32% is 30 cents. And the equity of his range then is 67%. And let's say I put out a half pot bet, which is what my bet would be here on a 3-bet pot. So half pot bet is 47 cents. So I risk to lose 47 cents. So 0.47 times 67% is 31 cents. So obviously 0.30 minus 0.31, it's a slightly minus EV play. Slightly minus EV play. It's almost like it could go either way. I could bet or I can check here. It's slightly minus EV. Now, again, I can improve. A 10 comes out and I have a straight. So I think that helps. Also with the idea of throwing out a C bet here. I think that would, implied odds can come in there, but I mean, again, I'm the aggressor. The half pot bet only has to work 33% of the time. Well, that's good. My equity is 32%. So again, it's so close. It's so close. I could do either or. I think this is just one of those things. I could do it, or I can't do it, or I don't do it. So I think give it a shot and just do it. So bet here. So that's what I'm going to say is I should bet here. I don't. I check, and he bets into me. So he bets into me 23%. So I think we figured it out already. Okay, if I just take a look and I say, now, sorry, not 13 times 4 is 52. So I need at least 52% equity to make this call. Well, that's what I have. I have about 52% equity when we do that, when we do the 4-2 rule. I mean, obviously versus range, we see it's much smaller, 32% equity, but even still, I have 32% equity versus him, and the bet's 23%. So I have that. Plus, I have implied odds as well. So I think that a call makes a lot of sense here. So I'm just curious. Let's just say I called and I got my 10. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think it would be plus EV here. Let's just say, all right, so I just want to figure this out. Again, from an EV standpoint. Well, what's he betting with here? I think we need to think about what he might be betting with here. What would he be betting with here? Sets. 2 pair, there is none. Over pair. Because I think I have to think about that now. Okay, what is he betting with? To really then come up with, a true equity. Top pair. Pocket pair, below top pair, he can. There is no middle pair. Weak pair, we'll say no. He would just check. Ace high. Sometimes these guys will bet with freaking ace high here. No made hand. Draws possible. So I got 28% equity when I take that stuff out. Still, I can call. Since I'm getting 23% pot odds. Like, I have to call this. I got the pot odds. I got the implied odds because a 10 gets me a straight. Plus, also, if a diamond comes out, then, I can still improve to a flush. So, I think this is kind of a no-brainer. But let's just take a look. I want to take a look from an EV standpoint here. Again. So, EV, again, is the percentage to win, which would be, in this case here, 28% times the money I could win. Like, let's say the 10 comes out next and there's just no betting. I know that's obviously pretty unrealistic at this, would be pretty unrealistic. But I stand to win $1.35 because that's the pot size. So $1.35 times 28% is 38 cents. And 71%, we'll actually say 72%. So the amount I risk here is 40 cents, which equals 0.4 times 72% is 28. So here we can see that it's a easy math there. Plus 10 cent. So it's a plus EV play, plus 10% EV play. So all the math here is pointing at us to make this call. We have the equity to make the call. It's a plus EV play to make the call. The 4-2 rule says we can make the call. The EV versus range based on the pot odds says we can make the call. Implied odds says we can make the call. There's no reason why we shouldn't make the call here. And we do. Good. And an ace comes out. So the ace is just not a great card. Terrible card for me. So the ace of hearts comes out. And ace of hearts, this drops my equity down to 14% versus his range. So we don't know if we have fold equity, unfortunately, because of the fact we're out of position versus an unknown versus a recreational player. You almost have to assume we don't have fold equity. Plus, this hits his range so well. I think you just have to check. A bet, I think, would just be horrible minus EV at this point. Let's take a look. Again, it's EV. I'm enjoying figuring out the EV. It's actually kind of fun. So again, let's just figure it out here. So the equity in my hand, my win percentage here is 15%. So I'm just going to round it. Times the amount I stand to win, which is $1.75. I'm just curious. Curious seeing if bluffing would be EV here. I don't think it would be, but let's see what the math says. Where did my calculator go? Oh, darn it. I accidentally killed my calculator. All right. Here it is. So $1.75 times 15% is 26 cents. And 85% times the amount I stand to lose. Oh, what the hell am I betting here? I'm going to have to bet big. Betting big is the only way I'm going to get a fold here in this spot. Betting small, I don't think would get a fold. And that's part of the problem too, is I got to bet big here to represent ace-king maybe. I could represent ace-king here. What are the chances that ace-king is checking? It could, because I'm out of position. So I could definitely have two pair ace-king here. In fact, one thing about his range I didn't do correctly, and that's my bad actually. I should take out these hands. So actually my equity is 15%. It's such a small difference. Now it's like 16% and 84%. Not too much of a difference. I'm not going to go crazy over the 1 percentage point. That's where I'm going to have to figure out get to know break-even percentage a little bit better. Would a quarter pot get it done? A half pot bet get it done? Well, here's the thing. I still do have the 10, but the 10 as an out. I still have the 10 as an out. So I could really bet a quarter pot, a half pot bet here. And if I get a fold, great. And if I don't, then I can still improve my hand. So actually, I think a half pot bet is okay here. So half pot bet is what? $1.75 divided by 2. So 86 cent bet. So I'll risk 86 cents. And let's see if that makes sense here. 0.86 times 85% is 73. So it's still minus EV. Betting here is still minus EV. 0.26 minus 0.73. And obviously the more I risk, the worse the EV. So there's only one correct play here, and that is checking. Bluffing here would not be the right play. It would be a minus EV play. Because also, if he calls, I'm kind of screwed. Unless I get that 10. I'm better off having him bet. So let's see. Because Because if he bets, it might actually be more plus EV depending on how much he bets. I check. He checks. Okay. So let's just take a look. Now, he doesn't have any sets. Why not? Did I take that out originally? Why wouldn't he have sets? He should have sets. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't. No, he doesn't have sets now. Definitely not if he checked. Two pair. He doesn't have two pair. He doesn't have a lot. He's telling us he really doesn't have much of anything. Top pair, middle pair. He could. I mean, is he really going to check back with a king now? He could, but I mean that would just be really weak. But I mean he could. Weak pair, no made hand, all this other stuff. So yeah, I mean he's checking back with 100% of his range. All right. Now two of clubs comes out. Two of clubs. Oh. That's our second two. So, hey, you could have quads. You could have a full boat. Well, I mean, no, he can't have a full boat because we had taken nines out. We said he didn't have trips. So we can't have a full boat. Either way, we're dead versus him at this point. There'd be no point in betting here. Because it's the same thing as before. Nothing has changed. So we can't bet here. I don't even have to go over the math again. Nothing has changed. In fact, things have gotten a lot worse for me. So I think we just give up. Check back. And he's got king queen. Pair of kings. Which we had in his range, so we had that in his range originally, so. But that's we're not hand reading here. The point is that I think we played this hand perfectly fine. I think we played this hand well. And you know, the math added up on this. So I'm gonna have to figure out about break-even percentage though. That's one thing I'm gonna have to do more research on. But I feel like now I have a pretty good grasp on EV. 4-2 rule I have much better grasp on. Frequencies really didn't come into play in this study session. Pot odds I've always had a pretty good grasp on pot odds. And implied odds, you know, again, still I don't really have much to go in there. Combos, I really didn't have to look into combos too much. So break-even percentage, what I really want to look at. And fold equity, I have a good understanding of fold equity. So I think this was a good study session. Went pretty long, but that's okay. A little bit over an hour. But I'm happy with how this went. And tomorrow I'm going to do more poker math. So I thank you for watching and bearing through this as I learn and try and finally get better at this darn game. Thank you for watching, and Poker Dad